Hello, we're so happy that you're back with us. I have just returned from 3 blissful, amazing, spiritually uplifting days with Swami Mukundananda in person at his Dallas retreat, the last of the year, going from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every night with the most amazing, incredibly uplifting, life-transforming experience. Best 3 days of my life. So I have all this big swell of love and excitement and really looking forward to sharing comments on today's video.
Amazing. She's all charged up, and it's not because she spent 3 days away from me. I took care of our toddler. It's because she spent 3 days with our Guru Dev. And what a blessing. If you ever have a chance to attend one of Swamiji's retreats, and by the way, if you're very far away, you can do the retreats online, and they're still amazing. Of course, if you get to go in person and have his darshan and be in his physical space, it's life-changing. And I can see, and I have felt since she returned, this explosive, glowing energy, which she always has, is even higher. So please go check out a Swamiji retreat if you want a life-altering experience.
Jai Ma! Radhe Radhe. Go to jkyog.org to look for his retreat schedule starting next year.
Amazing. Now, we're watching a mixed video today of Swami Mukundananda and Gaur Gopal Das, an amazing, loving, sweet teacher as well. And they're going to be talking about how to deal with difficulties, pain, and rejection in life, which we all receive. Let's hear what they have to say and the incredible loving guidance they provide us.
A piece of wood went to a sculptor and said, "Can you make me beautiful?" The sculptor said, "I am ready. Are you ready?" The wood said, "Yes." The sculptor took out his tools and started chiseling. The wood complained, "What is this you're doing? It's so painful. Stop. The sculptor said, "If you wish to be beautiful, you will need to tolerate the pain. All right, go ahead, but don't do so much in a day. Do a little every day." Now the sculptor began again. The wood kept complaining, "Enough for today, I can't bear any more." But the sculptor continued with his work, and one day that wood became a beautiful murti, a deity, and got established in the temple. In the same way, we wish to transform ourselves, the ugliness within. We wish to transform it into holiness. We wish to become beautiful and adorned with the ornaments of virtue within us. The difficulties, the hardships are God's way of beautifying us. So rather than lamenting over these reversals, we can see in them opportunities for enhancing our detachment. It's like a child who was playing.
We'll listen to the child analogy in a second, but any feelings or thoughts about the wood and the morti analogy?
It really feels that way when life gives us these hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we're being tortured, by an outside force, and you think, why is this happening? But when you get the chance to realize that it's the hand of God chiseling us so that we may step into the temple and become the morti, metaphorically, and we may beautify our insides and cleanse our impure mind and use these ancient Vedic scriptural teachings through the voice of a learned teacher to be able to assimilate and use them in our daily life. So this teaching is so profound. My emotion is very high because every day we experience small difficulties and throughout the year large difficulties. And what an amazing thing it would be if every time a small or big thing came, we said, "Thank you, God, for the blow that you're striking to me because now I'm being chiseled." I wish I could do that all the time.
Well, you may not be able to do it all the time, but you definitely do it a good amount of the time when seemingly bad things happen, when challenges, problems arise. I've been watching you say, this hurts, or this is not what I wanted, but I know and I trust that this is actually chiseling me, it's helping me, it's from God, helping me grow less attached to the world, more attached to God and Guru. So you're practicing that. I can say that if it weren't for pain and suffering, I never would have turned to yoga and found bhakti. When I was in a before we had met, in a super painful period of my life, and I was a lawyer, and I was, chasing money and partying and chasing women, I was lost. My soul was lost, and it led to a sense of deep pain and suffering. And when I was in the depths of that pain, I asked for help, and I was given the greatest gift ever, bhakti yoga, and eventually shown my guru. And only through that really intense pain of chiseling did I get turned away from the things that were really causing me the intense pain that I was so attached to, and turning towards God and Guru. So Ram Dass says that pain is our training for becoming wiser and more loving. And I know that if I didn't go through that incredible piece of pain and lots of additional pieces of pain, I would be a much worse version of myself. Less loving, less empathetic, less service-oriented. I'd probably be in court right now in a fancy suit, suing people angrily and judging people. Just trying to make as much money and acquire things as possible. So thank God for all of the pain and the suffering.
Neem Karoli Baba says, I love suffering. It brings me closer to God.
Can you say that a little more clearly one more time?
Neem Karoli Baba says, I love suffering. It brings me closer to God. And my beloved, I'm so honored to be your wife. I love you.
I love you, my beautiful goddess.
His toys and had forgotten the mother. Now, rather than fight with the child, the mother arranged for the toy to be snatched away. When it was gone, the child remembered he is hungry, and he called out to his mother, who responded by coming there and feeding him milk. In the same way, we have forgotten our eternal mother, our eternal father, and we are playing with the trinkets, the sense objects of the world, the material entities. These reversals are the ways of nature for helping us turn away from the world.
It's like when we pull a toy or something dangerous away from Jaya, our 2.5-year-old daughter, and she cries. If I do that, if something's dangerous, she gets upset and she cries, and then what does she cry out for? Mama, right? And I love that analogy, that when we cry, when we're having suffering and pain, it causes us to cry out for our eternal mother.
To seek eternal life. Keeping that perspective, we can free ourselves from lamentation. As regards anxieties of the present, all we need to do is to have faith. There was once a naval officer who after marriage was going for his first voyage with his wife on the ship. Unfortunately, the ship got caught in a storm on the high seas, and it was getting tossed by the waves. Everybody in that ship was anxious, except for this sailor. His wife, looking at his calm demeanor, said, "My dear husband, how are you so calm in such a difficult situation?" He smiled. He took out his sword from the sheath and placed the blade on his wife's head. He said, "My dear wife, are you worried?" She said, "No." "Why not? This naked blade is on your head. It can go right through your skull." She said, "It's in your hands, the sword, and I have faith that you are my well-wisher. What's there to be scared about?" The naval officer said, "In the same way, I have faith that this ship is in the hands of God, and whatever He does will be for my best interest because He is my well-wisher." That faith frees us from anxieties of the present and helps us focus on doing our best. And that ultimately is the way for building our future. So rather than worry about the future, we can simplify the game of life. Do your best and leave to God all the rest.
Do your best and leave to God all the rest. The words, the teaching, so profound. If only we could remember this gem of wisdom when we need it the most, when the sword is over our head or when the ship is tossing. Second teacher.
Yeah, and Gaur Gopal Das. Let's see what he has to say about the difficulties of life.
There was a young man who tried his level best to clear his exams at university, but he repeatedly failed, and finally he just gave up. Thinking that marriage would be the best way to make him responsible, his family got him married. After the marriage, the man took up a job as a primary school teacher, but due to lack of experience was mocked by the students and finally removed by the school authorities in just a few weeks' time. When he returned home that day, his wife wiped his tears and comforted him. She said to him, "You can teach young kids only if you've taken formal training, or at least have some experience of teaching kids. And for you, you didn't study teaching at university, nor have you dealt with kids earlier. So how would you know how to teach kids?" Don't be too sad about it. When God says yes to your prayer, He gives you what you want. But when He says no to your prayer, He has something better for you. Probably there is a better, more suitable job waiting for you out there. Gathering some hope, the man kept trying to find opportunities, and when he did finally find one, he was once again chucked out of the job due to his slowness. Yet again his wife tried to encourage him by saying, "I'm sure there are people who are skilled and experienced at that job, and their experience comes from many years at it. As for you, you were in school trying to teach kids all this while. So how could you acquire the needed skills?" Don't worry. When God says no to your prayer, He gives you something better. But when He says wait to your prayer, He gives you the best. The man kept trying his luck with several jobs, which never lasted more than a couple of weeks, at best months. Each time he would return back home dejected and depressed, and his loving wife would comfort him. Never once was she disappointed or resentful. By the time the man was in his 30s, he'd found his calling and had acquired a flair in languages. He ended up being a counselor in a school for those kids who were challenged in hearing and speaking. And a little later, he opened his own school for specially abled kids. In a couple of years, he set up a chain of stores in different cities and provinces selling apparatus and equipment for the specially abled, and went on to become a multi-millionaire. One day, the now rich man asked his wife, "When I was so negative about my own future, how could you have so much faith in me?" The reply that his wife gave him was simple yet very profound and inspiring. She said, "When a piece of land is not suitable for planting wheat, we should try planting beans. And after all the years of efforts, if beans are not growing well, we should try planting fruits or veggies. And if the vegetation doesn't work, we can scatter buckwheat seeds. These seeds will one day bloom into flowers, and on the very land itself, there will be one seed that will germinate and grow." After having listened to the wife's explanation, the man wept. Her faith in him, her love, her patience, her persistence was actually responsible for the successful empire that they now owned. Ladies and gentlemen, no one in this world is useless. The land may be very fertile, but you may not have figured out your seed yet. It takes a while to figure out what's your seed, what works for you. But once you discover your seed, your passion, your calling, excellence and abundant growth will simply be a consequence. Until then, you need to believe in yourself. More so, you need someone who can believe in you and keep you going till you see your day.
What a beautiful, sweet teaching.
What do you make of that man's journey?
I'm so deeply touched because this learned scholar who's giving us this wonderful gem from the story is describing what is known in science as that kind of growth mindset and this notion of persistence in the face of setbacks, which is also a concept that's, discussed, like grit, discussed in psychology. So these are, concepts that are known, but through the lens of having that faith to pursue your seed. I also love that, so this man had his wife encouraging him, and maybe we can also say from Swamiji's clip, to bring the two together, God is our eternal well-wisher, and you always have the Supreme Lord on your side, that everything is happening to you is for your betterment. So if you haven't found your seed yet, continuing to have that faith that God is helping you forward, and all you have to do is take one step after the other. Keep trying so we can bring the two together.
That's beautiful, my love, because as much as I cherish that story by Gaur Gopal, the last sentence that he shared didn't really resonate with me. The notion that if you find someone else in this worldly level, that you need that in order to have that level of ease and faith and trust. And it's wonderful if you have that, and I'm blessed beyond belief that I do have that. But as you said, we don't need that because it's God who's orchestrating it, and that's who our eternal supporter is. So if you haven't found your beloved yet, you still have, as you said, the divine beloved.
The benefit of these teachers, because so much of wisdom in what he shared, and such a profound story. But when you have, put teachings together, they can complete each other, and so special.
Beautiful. And they call it failing your way to success in the corporate world, right?
Yes.
This notion of you go this way and you try, and then you fail, and you go this way and you try and you fail, and you go this way and you fail. And that's the notion of how we actually achieve and succeed. And he gave an amazing story on how to fail your way to success. So we hope this video combination of the two teachers are helpful for you in dealing with the problems that life brings all of us, certainly brings us, and all humans. And we thank you for watching and tuning in, and we send you love and blessings.
See you next time. Thank you.